call to order this November 25th, 2025 meeting of the Blair Mayor and City Council. I'm Mindy Rump, the Mayor of Blair, and I am pleased that you have joined us this evening and didn't blow away on your way here. This is a public meeting and you are part of the process. I encourage you to participate, ask questions, and share your thoughts. I want you to feel comfortable, and I will do everything that I can to make sure that your voice is heard. We do have several rules to help us proceed with the meeting, and I ask that you please keep them in mind. Please turn off your cell phones. If you need to take a call, step outside the chamber. When you wish to speak, simply raise your hand and I will acknowledge you and you can come forward to the podium. Brenda Wheeler, our city clerk, must record who you are, so please state your name, spell your last name, and state your address. Keep your remarks brief, about 3 minutes, so others have the opportunity to speak. And please direct your comments to either myself, city council, or to our city staff. A copy of the Open Meetings Act has been posted by both exits, and we will begin this evening with the roll call of members.
Banner?
Present.
Paulson?
Here.
Long?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
Willis?
Here.
Clark?
Here.
Fletcher?
Yep.
All members are present.
Thank you. If you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we move on to item number 4, I'd like to publicly thank everyone, many of whom are in this room, for their participation with our Tannenbaum event last Thursday. It was, I would say, very well accepted by the public, and we had a lot of council members and staff and other volunteers in our community that put in a lot of hours as elves, and it was very appreciated and a successful event, so thank you very much. Item number 4, approval of the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Item number 5, consider resolution 2025-129 approving an amendment to the LV 840 application from Little Blossoms Kids Club, 2232 Washington Street, allocating a new distribution of LB 840 funds. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, and good evening, council members. Phil Green, City Administrator. Mike Rooks is out of town tonight, and so I'm kind of filling him for this regarding this LB 840 application. This is actually not a brand new application. We're returning to one that you had previously granted $110,000 for. There's no additional dollars that are being requested right now, but the applicant is back before you asking for a shift in the funding. I'll have Cassie come up here in just a second, but very briefly, what had happened in the past was, again, $110,000 that was allocated towards Little Blossoms and the Little Blossoms Kids Club. That was divided into 2 different tranches. One was $60,000 for a bus and to help with transportation, and that was set up to be a forgivable loan over a 7-year period, and part of the collateral for that bus then, or at least, an arrangement was going to be set up that if they closed for some reason and the city's money was involved in that bus, that the bus would ultimately be returned back to the city, and that cost, if you will, towards that would be amortized over a 7-year period. Then there was an additional $50,000 that was set up as, again, a forgivable loan, but that was going to be used for other repairs and enhancements that would be done at the facility, and that was tied to job creation, and there was a certain number of jobs that were in that initial application. She had 12 months to reach that milestone and then needs to maintain that for 36 months or 3 years, and then that would become a forgivable loan as well. And what the request ultimately is, because of the good job that she did at acquiring a bus at much lower rate than what she'd anticipated, to transfer $30,000 from out of the bus fund, if you will, to over into the other remodeling and enhancement fund, which would then do the dollar amount that you see in the resolution here, $30,000 as that 0% interest over the 7-year period for the bus, and then $80,000 for the 3 years, 36 months based on employment. So Cassie, why don't you come on up, talk a little bit about what you have done, what you're planning to do, and then we can open it up for the public.
Hi, council members. Okay, I am back to talk through my process of how I would like to reallocate funds. Oh, excuse me. My name is Cassandra Rice, REI, S as in Sam, Z as in Zebra, and then my address,
Correct?
280 Riverview Drive, Blair, Nebraska.
Thank you.
I am here, though, today to attempt to ask you guys to reallocate the funds. I was able to acquire a bus through the auction through the school district that received a clean bill of health and has been maintained very well through the school. And that opened up the opportunity for me to be able to reallocate those funds that were originally used for the bus to put it towards an outdoor project for the kids club. I'm looking at creating a basketball court for the kids. Previously, it was a playground more utilized for pre-K and toddler ages. I would like to vamp it up to be school age appropriate. One of the big ways I would like to do that is creating a basketball court. And if you guys have kids, grandkids, anything, Gaga Ball pit. Gaga Ball is the it game for school age. It's just an octagon made out of wood, and the kids love it. So I would like to put in a Gaga Ball pit, as well as extend the play system. We do have a lot of property that is unused on the west side of our building, and I would like to extend that out, have the play system shift, and then have a grassy area for soccer, football, those types of things for the kids. And that estimate coming in, and that's with all of the utilities, the labor, basketball hoop, concrete, fence, to shift the fencing, and that comes in at $30,000, $30,527.
Is this the Deerfield facility?
Yes.
Does council have any other questions for Cassie? Thank you.
Thank you.
Finance Committee, did you meet on this?
We did.
Yes, we did. We felt that the usage of the fund showed constraints. They found one at auction, spending the money to upgrade it, coming well under budget. We all agreed that reallocating the funds for additional improvements, as Cassie had mentioned, is a great idea. So with that in mind, if no one has any additional questions, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-129 as presented. Oh, sorry. Got to introduce, sorry. Resolution number 2025-129.
Resolution number 2025-129 was introduced by Councilmember Clark, approving an amendment to the LB 840 application from Little Blossom Kids Club, 2232 Washington Street, allocating a new distribution of the funds.
Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-129 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to adopt resolution number 2025-129. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 6, consider resolution 2025-130, approving the purchase of network equipment and security cameras. Mr. White?
Good evening. I'm going to sneak in here real quick and say two quick things, then turn it over to Tom. Number one, the Finance Committee did talk about this, so Mayor, if you want to ask for their recommendation, we did have it on the sheet. And number two, all of this had been budgeted for dollar-wise. Tom will go over the details, but it is in the current budget for each of the facilities.
Okay, thank you.
So it's very similar to the cameras that we put in the library and are putting in Generations Park. Essentially, I'm seeing a delay and kind of inventory problem with ordering, so I'd like to order basically the next year's worth of projects and cameras now so we get them in time. So there's 3 locations that I'd like to order equipment for: the police department, Lions Park, and City Hall. Currently, the police do not have any cameras, and they need some network components updated and replaced to be able to support this. Lions Park, as we know, there's been a lot of vandalism there. We have no cameras there, but we do have internet. I got that installed this fall. And then City Hall, we just have an older camera system, and we need to add a few more to kind of cover the outside and the annex. So I'd like to get equipment to be able to cover these 3 locations. Use the same camera system just trying to get ahead of some of the delays we're seeing because of tariffs and other delays. And then we would essentially install these as they come in over the winter and spring, just to increase the officer staff and public safety. Cost, like Phil had mentioned, I put this in the budget. I don't expect that all of this will hit at the same time because they'll invoice when they ship. But kind of priority for me is Lions Park, and then the police department, and then City Hall towards probably summer of next year. And I think that's it. Are there any questions?
You're doing the install yourself then, I
Yeah.
assume, correct? And your team? Perfect.
Me and the new IT person, so.
Was there another location we were looking at?
Dodge Park.
So we,
The water, well, the,
Dog park and
Splash pad?
so the library is, there's a few left, but they're on the new system now. Generations Park, I'm still waiting for some of that equipment to come in.
I think the impound lot we
That
talked
as well.
about.
I've looked, I kind of did site surveys and looked at all those.
Okay.
I'd like to hit kind of in 5 months to kind of target getting the water plant going, because we just paid for another 6-month maintenance contract with the current provider. So I want that to run out, and then I'm just gonna time it with that, so. Water treatment, Black Elk, that's another one. They're all kind of coming online, but we did finish up, kind of that dark fiber project, got installed yesterday, so we can start to get the water treatment plant and the reservoirs and things like that, cameras up there, so.
Any other questions for Mr. White?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the public? Having none, Finance Committee.
Yes, we did meet on this. And we all thought it was a very good idea, and it was also budgeted. So with that, I would like to introduce Resolution 2025-130.
Resolution number 2025-130 is introduced by Councilmember Wolf, approving the purchase of network equipment and security cameras.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-130 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-130. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 7, consider resolution 2025-131, approving changes to the water treatment plant operator compensation. Mr. Heaton.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my first item for you tonight. It's to look at some changes to the compensation of the water treatment plant operators and a few of our other staff that have their water and sewer licenses. So I think everybody knows in the last month, 6 weeks, we had unexpectedly quite a bit of a turnover at the water treatment plant. We had several operators that took positions to better themselves with MUD. One guy took a job in Iowa. Can't fault anybody for wanting to better themselves, but it kind of made us take a step back to want to kind of see what we can do to keep these guys here and keep them engaged. So one of the first 2 things I guess we'd like to propose is to, one, upgrade the compensation they get for various water licenses and sewer licenses, and then look at possible hiring bonus. So currently, right now, grade 4 water license is your entry-level grade, and a grade 1 wastewater is the entry level that we essentially require everybody that's working at those plants to have. And then we also have some utility guys that have those. Mark's got his licenses. And then anything above and beyond the, I guess, entry level, right now it's a quarter an hour. And it's been that way for many years. It hasn't changed. And so one of the things we thought we could do fairly quickly and fairly easily is to boost that up. So your kind of next step up would be $1. The next step would be $2, and then that top grade and each one would be $3 an hour more to their already hourly wage. The idea behind kind of stepping that up is to hopefully get some of these guys to want to go for those higher grade licenses. So for our water plant to operate, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but we have to have a grade 2 water operator on staff. Currently, I think there's only 3 guys in the city, Mark's being one of them, Jeff Combs, and I think Terry Vandry. So we need to be kind of looking down the road at the future when these guys start to retire and move on, that we have somebody ready to go and get those licenses. And then on our wastewater, Mark's got his grade 3, 4. You got your top one on wastewater, that's right. And I believe Josh has a 3, but then the other guys just have their 2 and the 1. So again, we're just trying to encourage these guys to give them a little bit to stay for coming, and then they give up after a week or something like that. So what I proposed was to split $1,000 hiring bonus into 2 kind of payments, if you will, with $500 after they have their successful 6-month probationary period, and then another $500 after they get that an entry-level grade 4 license and 1 year of service. It kind of depends on class sizes and timing and scheduling with the state. We're kind of at the mercy for them to get guys in to get their licenses, so we try to get them. It's about a year time. Usually once or twice a year there's classes we can get guys in, but there's just some timing factors in there to get everybody through that. So that is my recommendation. Mark, do you have anything you wanted to add? Any questions?
CJ, is there any cost associated to the employees for taking these courses to get each step?
Yeah, it's a few $100 maybe to go pay for the registration, and depending on where the class is, there may be travel expenses, hotels, things like that, but it's...
Do we offer any financial assistance for obtaining these?
We pay for all the training, the classes, the hotels, and all that stuff. That's all covered.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Heaton?
Is this adequate?
It's a good question. I think it's a start. I think we can give this a shot. It's considerably better than a quarter an hour, especially for some of the guys that have those higher licenses. And I think there's already been guys that have said, I'll consider maybe going back and taking that class, because some of these, Mark can attest to it better than I can. Some of these it puts them through the ringer to go get these licenses. We have some other options that we've been talking about. Ben and I are also going to work, we've been communicating with MUD to get kind of a good pay scale from them, I guess, to see what their operators are getting paid. Just a quick glance, it looks like between MUD and us, there's about a $10 discrepancy for similar positions. I know that's MUD, we're Blair, but I think there's something to be said there, that we can kind of do something different. So I would expect in the next couple months we'll have a proposal to possibly tweak just the base wages.
It's a start.
It's a start, and we can always, if it doesn't work, we can bump it up, talk to the guys again.
That's a big delta.
And then, good news is, and I was telling the Water and Sewer Committee tonight, and when this all kind of started, we had been in the process of doing interviews. We knew we needed to fill positions. We had Ben can yell at me if I'm wrong, we had 1 start yesterday, and I think 4 more starting between now and the end of the year.
Excellent.
So, yep.
Are these increases all accounted for in the budget, the current budget?
They were not necessarily like in the salary budget, but the water fund is a pretty healthy fund. I'm not too concerned. It'd be something, another thing coming up eventually is probably after this whole BSNA stuff goes through is I've been looking at some software to help us kind of tool exactly what our rates need to be, and it's more of a live, you can plug stuff into it and get a better output. So we'll be able to tool that a little bit better and make sure our rates cover everything.
Is the onboarding bonus just for water? Or is
It would
for
just be
wastewater?
for water, the way we've kind of presented it right now.
And this assures, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but this assures that we have everyone working down there as operators.
Correct.
not just small handful.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so-
which is huge.
Correct. We'd have everybody on staff would be an operator.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'd have, this would fill it to 12 operator positions, then we have the chemist, an assistant, and then the supervisor. And when two or three of the guys we just hired, one already has his water license, another one, if we can get it in time by the end of the year, he'll be able to take a continuing ed class and get his renewed, and then another one is from out of state. So we'll have to do some looking to see what he can do if he has to go through as much stuff as somebody brand new. So we're hoping to be able to, out of the new 5, the 3 of them can hit the ground running more or less, so be a good start.
Stay on top of it, because it's very critical.
Are the licenses specific to Nebraska, or are there reciprocal
Yes,
states?
they're through the state.
It's just, so
Correct.
Nebraska, it's not like a
Yep.
Nebraska, Iowa, it's one state. Got it.
Yep, and there's different requirements. Like if for like a grade 4, you need to work so many months or have a associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, and then you can qualify then to go actually take the class and take the test without, if you don't have as much education, you have to have more time in plant experience to kind of qualify for those things.
Is there like a continuing ed requirement for this as well?
Yep, do you know how many hours a year?
So, water is 10 hours for 2 years, and wastewater is 20 hours.
And the city pays for that as well? I
Yep,
assume.
so there's conferences throughout the year. We try to have the League of Nebraska Municipalities puts things on that qualify. So like the annual conference, I think you've all had a chance to go to, and then that's, they do a spring and a fall one. And then they do a separate utility conference the first week of January, which I think you can get all 10 of your hours at that, if you go to that. So, and there's all sorts of things that pop up that they do throughout the state that'll have, you can get 2 hours if you go, or 3 hours. So we try to make sure the guys get to all those. So usually getting the hours is not an issue.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Any comments from the public? Having none, Water and Sewer Committee.
We did meet and discuss, like CJ said, we met a couple weeks ago and discussed this, kind of brought this up. We were talking about hiring extra people, the need for it. Blair, if it doesn't have a running water plant, Blair dies. It's a very, very important piece of the infrastructure for Blair. I know we're a town of 8,000 people, but a lot of people don't realize Blair cranks out more water than a lot of 25,000 population towns. So it's a very important piece to keep Blair running. And that's only going to go up with more things coming in, such as the new calcium plant, et cetera, or apartments, things like that. So I would like to introduce Resolution 2025-131 as presented.
Resolution number 2025-31 was introduced by Councilmember Paulson, approving the changes to the water treatment plant operator compensation.
I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-131 as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-131. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 8, consider resolution 2025-132, approving an agreement with JEO to update the Blair Water Treatment Plant Risk and Resilience Assessment and Emergency Response Plan. Mr. Heaton.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to kind of talk about the next 2 items, I guess. 8 and 9, kind of at the same time they go together. So 8 specifically deals with the water treatment plant for the emergency response plan and the risk and resiliency assessment. These 2 plans are required every 5 years to be updated by the state of Nebraska for the water plant. For the wastewater plant, we'll talk about a little bit more here at the end of this, but that's more optional at this point. So the emergency response plan, I believe, is due at the first of July of 2026, and the resiliency plan by the end of next year. But these are 2 30, 40-page, very lengthy documents that take quite a bit of time and staff involvement, and the consultant, I know I looked the last several times JEO has worked with the city to put these plans together and put everything together nice and neat that we can submit it to the state and the EPA and make sure we've checked all the boxes that we need to check. So I did reach out to JEO again. So the quote for them to renew the water treatment plant plan is $7,965. Currently, the state does not require one for the wastewater plant. In my conversations with JEO, there's some kind of rumblings at the state that it might be coming that these are required. Right now, I haven't heard anything official, but in my opinion, just to make sure that we're covering our bases at both plants, I think we should look at having that plan done also. And since that hasn't been done before, it'd be more work to get everything put together. And the quote for that is $22,800. In both of these, we have funds in the professional services line for each department that we can cover these expenses. We kind of set money aside in there for various engineering projects that come up throughout the year. Any questions?
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Having none, Water and Sewer Committee.
We did meet on this, and like CJ said, that this is necessary and required. So if the council doesn't have any questions, I will introduce resolution number 2025-132.
Resolution number 2025-132 was introduced by Councilmember Willis, approving an agreement with JEO to update the Blair Water Treatment Plant Risk and Resilience Assessment and Emergency Response Plan.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-132 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-132. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 9, consider resolution 2025-133, approving agreement with JEO to create a risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plan for the Blair wastewater treatment plant. And Mr. Heaton already spoke. Mr. Heaton already spoke about this, although this is something we haven't had before. So, Water and Sewer Committee.
We also met on this, and this is a good thing to do in addition to the water. So if there's no questions from council, I will introduce resolution number 2025-133.
Resolution number 2025-133 was introduced by Councilmember Willis with JEO to create a risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plan for the Blair wastewater treatment plant.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 2025-133 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-133. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 10, consider resolution 2025-134, approving amendment number 2 with HDR Engineering for the Highway 75 pump station project. Mr. Heaton.
Thank you, Mayor. So this amendment was with HDR for the design work on the Highway 75 pump station. The amendment will cover just some extra work that has kind of come up as we've gotten into this project. As most projects do, we kind of tweak things as we go. The big things with this is we're changing up, as Tom mentioned, the dark fiber that went in. The original design, the automated systems, all the controls that talk back to the plant were all radio based. We're looking at changing that to a fiber internet system, so there's some tweaking there. And then also some different work with the valving that we're going to use to actually cut this system into the current water system. And then the last thing that we have that's kind of changed this, there's potential for some development in the area, so we're trying to work really closely with the developer to make sure that our work fits in with what they're wanting to do and we don't end up butting heads or anything. So HDR's kind of had to go back and do a little bit of fine tuning and tweaking on their plans and just how we'll get access off the highway. And the area that we're looking at is on Highway 75 south of the Y, just straight across from Maple Drive in that cornfield that's there. We're looking at taking about what would equate to one lot size and to put this pump station in. Like I said, there's just trying to coordinate everything and make sure that we're future-proofing this, if you will. But the added increase of that, I guess, is $8,152, which moves the total to $151,992, or not to exceed that amount. Any questions?
So the additional amount is just the coordination with
Yep.
the potential builder.
Yep, and the little design changes with the fiber going in and some stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Having none, Water and Sewer Committee, this is your night.
Yeah, we did meet on this. I remember talking about this before with the pump station. Felt like this was, needed with the dark fiber coming in. We're making some changes. We're, making sure that we're good stewards and working with any potential, development. So if there's no questions, I'll introduce Resolution 2025-134.
Resolution number 2025-134 was introduced by Councilmember Letcher. Resolution number 2025-34 was introduced by Councilmember Letcher, approving amendment number 2 with HDR Engineering for Highway 75 pump station project.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2025-134 is presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-134. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 11, consider resolution 2025-135, awarding the bid for crack sealing on Highway 75. Mr. Heaton.
Thank you again, Mayor. Last you'll have to hear from me for a while. So yeah, this is, there's 2 bids in there. What we're looking at doing is hiring out the crack sealing, tarring of Highway 75. If you remember, about a year ago, last fall, we had a company come and they went from the Hollow Road bypass out to the south entrance of Cargill, sealing all the cracks with mastic and tar. They did a really good job, and it was done in 2 days, I think. So it was much faster than our crew would be able to get done. A lot safer that way too. What the bids looked at this time is going from on the south side of town, Hollow Road and Highway 75 all the way to Washington Street, and then we'll skip over the downtown and pick up again at 19th and Washington and go north all the way to the city limits. So those are, 4 or 5 lane segments when they've got the turn lane in there. Highway speeds, highway traffic, hiring somebody to come in and get it done will go far faster than we would be able to rolled through that with our tar machine. We did get 2 bids. One came in later, but the low bid was for $70,143 when you add all the various phases together. And that was with the same outfit that did the Highway 75 South project a year ago. They did very good work. And then Mark was able to get another bid from a more local person, but their bid was almost double, or more than double, it was $143,000 for the same work. And I don't have a good answer why the price difference. They were all presented the same job, and they're actually, both of them had agreed to use some of our stored materials on hand. So we're not buying more tar for this. We're going to use up the stuff we bought last year. We ended up, from the gentleman that's going to, I recommend doing the work with, we bought a new mastic machine and a whole trailer, like semi-load of tar and mastic from him, and got a pretty good discount to get it in bulk. It doesn't go bad, so it's been sitting down there at the shop. The guys have been using it as they need to, but we'll be able to put a lot of it to good use in this project. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any comments from the public? Before we hear from Transportation Committee, could I have somebody make a motion to receive and place on file?
A motion to receive and place on file the bids for crack sealing on Highway 75.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and place on file the crack ceiling bids. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Now, Transportation Committee.
We did talk about this. It's Bargain, I guess is how it's pronounced, did great work for us last time. As CJ had mentioned, it's going to be a quicker process for them to handle it. And it just seems like the best option for us, again. So if no other questions, I would like to introduce Resolution 2025-135.
Resolution number 2025-135 was introduced by Councilmember Clark, awarding the bid for crack ceiling on Highway 75.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-135 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2025-135. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Item number 12, consider resolution 2025-136, amending the Blair Municipal Code Appendix Permit License and Application Fees to include updating building and zoning permit fees. Mr. Green.
Thank you, Mayor. Aaron, if you want to go ahead and bring up that first red line attachment, we'll be talking a little bit about it. So a little while back, the Judiciary Committee met and discussed this. We didn't have a chance tonight to go over the details, so hopefully if you have any questions, please speak out. But just a little over a year ago, we updated the vast majority of our fees, especially on the building permit side. But we also knew, and I've talked about this at a couple of budget workshops, we talked about it recently when we had our last Fifth Tuesday meeting about additional revenues, that there are some things that a lot of municipalities charge for when it comes to expenses and activities that are done in the community development area, planning and zoning, building permits, things like that, that we just historically have never charged anything for. We do the work, but we've never gotten any revenue from it. Philosophically, if I can, real quickly, again, just remind you that I think part of the philosophy of the building department and community development department is that it should be self-funding, that the people that are doing the work and doing the activity should be generating enough revenue that therefore all the personnel that are required to do those activities are being paid for through those fees. Therefore, it's not a burden on the property tax owners or property owners here in town through property taxes, and it's not a burden on our sales tax. It's being paid for by the people that are actually doing the work. So when we met with the Judiciary Committee, we reviewed information that one of our interns had put together for us over the summer that Brenda had worked on, kind of done some comparisons for us with other municipalities, and we felt pretty comfortable with the vast majority of the fees that we already have. It was those fees that we're not charging anything for, or that work that we're not charging anything for, that they did feel like should be recommended to you tonight. And so that's what you see before you here. The way this document works, all the black text has not been changed at all. So these are current fees that are in the document. So Aaron, as you scroll through the second page, third page, we've reorganized this a little bit, did some indents. I added a few cute little boxes and some things like that just to make it a little easier to be able to read as we go through here. But you'll eventually get into, I think, the fourth or fifth page, and you begin to see some red information in here. And again, the traditional way that red line works, if it's red and underscored, it's being added. If it's red and striked out, it's being removed or replaced by whatever information might be there. So this is in the section that deals with building permits, both residential and commercial. The section right above it deals with the financing of it. And Aaron, if you scroll up just a hair, there's a chart in here that basically, depending upon the valuation of the construction, and that's estimated by us based on the square footage of the facility and the kind of work that's being done. Once you get the value of the construction, then that equates into what the fee is going to be. Therefore, I've always liked to say, if you take two 1,500 square foot houses, and one is built with fairly simple finishing, and the other is decked out to the max with gold and marble and things like that. Those are all superficial type things, really don't affect our building inspector, don't cost any more. So we would value those exactly the same, even though one house might be actually on the market for more just because of its finish. So that's how you end up with these values for the permit. We've always charged for those, and we've increased those fees, like I said, within this last year. What we've not done, and a lot of communities have done, is a plan review fee. And so we're recommending here a plan review fee that makes variations based upon whether it's a residential permit or a commercial permit. On the residential side, the amount that they pay on the far right-hand side is based upon the permit fee, not the total value, but the permit fee that's there. And so, again, if it ended up being a residential use at all, and this is not just new family, single-family housing, but it's also remodels, it would also be accessory buildings and garages, things like that. If it's any kind of residential use, if the permit fee is $600 or less, it's just $25 for the plan review fee. If it's between $600 and $2,500 as far as the permit fee is concerned, it would be $50. I think probably the average house that we see built these days is between $1,500 and $2,000 as far as the permit fee is concerned. So the vast majority of our homes are going to be in this area. So you're looking at an additional $50 fee that covers the review or the plan review. And then for those, much larger, more expensive homes, those would go up to the $100. Then on the commercial side, it would be 25% of the permit fee with a minimum, though, of $100, but not to exceed 100% of the permit fee. So therefore, if it was a relatively small structure, therefore you might have 100% of the permit fee, but no more than that at a minimum of $100 or 25% if it ends up being one of the really large commercial businesses that we sometimes have. And then we have a charge in here on the commercial side for deferred submittals. And a deferred submittal would be if they came in with drawings that, say, only showed the footings and said, well, we would like to defer until a later time the actual structure itself. We allow them to do that, and we've historically allowed them to do that, but it does put an extra burden on our plan reviewer, because then ultimately, once that design comes in, he oftentimes has to go back and compare what that original footing was compared to now the structure that you're going to be placing upon those footings. And so we would charge an additional $100 per submittal for those that are being submitted. The next section then deals with stormwater management plans and silt fencing. We, again, historically have always had a stormwater management plan that needed to be submitted. This would be slightly separate. On the stormwater, we've required those plans to be submitted. We've not charged them for our review of those plans. This would be partly for that review, and then partly for reviewing the silt fencing that goes along with it. Now, historically, if they're going to disturb over an acre in size, then the contractor has to get a SWIP permit through the state. And the state usually then requires some inspectors to be out there looking at the silt fence. So it's a little bit less burden on us, but that's disturbing a full acre or more. Those are usually fairly large commercial developments. And there's more than enough plan review that would go on in the stormwater management review that I think would compensate well for the cost that's going to be shown here. On the residential side, though, there would be, for most typical houses, a minimum charge here, again, of $50 to help review that and then to keep an eye on whatever silt fencing might be required for those homes. We have had experiences in the past where, especially in some of the hillier areas of town, someone's been building a house and all of a sudden a big pile of dirt that sits there ends up washing into the neighbor's yard to some degree because they don't have sufficient silt fencing. So any questions on those two issues? If not, going on, the next page has no changes. Page after that has just one page. This gets into the kind of the sub-permits, the mechanical, electrical, plumbing permits that are out there. Most of these fees, again, were pretty much in line with the other communities in our area. But one that we wanted to add is an annual requirement for both backflow and then grease trap inspections. On the commercial side, restaurants all have to have a grease trap. Those get inspected every year. Again, we've always sent our inspector out to do that, but at no fee. Now we would be charging $35 a trip for those. And there are some backflow preventers that are required to be inspected every year. There's paperwork that we have to collect on that. We have to collect that information and submit it to the state every couple of years, I think it is, Brenda. And so this would just, again, help compensate for some of that time and expense of those activities. Then going on to the next one, we're in the mechanical section. We haven't changed any of the sub fees, but let me describe a little bit like at the Dollar General location. Dollar General, huge facility there. I don't know how many heating and air conditioning units are on the roof of that facility, but probably, more than 6, maybe a dozen, something like that. We charge for each one of those units, we charge just $25 for all of the ductwork that would be in that whole facility. Now, charging it and doing a plan review on it is one thing, but our inspector has to go out there and inspect all the ductwork, and yes, they don't crawl up in it, and they don't, necessarily check every single nut and bolt, but they're looking to make sure that it's secured, that it's according to the plans, those kinds of things. Well, obviously, on those very, very large facilities, our inspector has to go out multiple times to do those field inspections. So we've added this section here on the new commercial industrial inspection fee that's based on the valuation of whatever, not the structure itself, but just that heating and cooling system. So we'll work closely with the contractor. We'll ask to see ultimately with the contractor, the subcontractor that they're going with for their heating and cooling system, the expense of that, and then you can see kind of the chart there, that if it was over $20,000 for the whole unit, and I'm guessing that, for a facility like Dollar General, you're talking 6 figures, if not multiple 6 figures for that heating and cooling system, would be $200 plus $100 for every $10,000 in addition to that, just because of the multiple different times that our inspector would be out there doing those inspections. So any questions on those? Those are kind of all the sub-permit ones, just a couple tweaks there. And then finally, moving on to the miscellaneous fees and zoning permit fees. There's a variety of different things that don't happen often, but they happen occasionally, and we've never really charged anything for those. You'll also see in this section a few of the areas where the dollar amounts are red line crossed out, and again, those would be removing that dollar amount and replacing it with the dollar amount that's there shown previously. So as an example, the demolish and move buildings goes up to $75. That's what we charge for a miscellaneous structure, so it seemed like a reasonable dollar amount. Again, below what we see on average in other places. You have some additions in here. One would be a floodplain permit and elevation certificate review. Occasionally, sometimes people come to us and again want to try to take their property out of the floodplain. There's a lot of paperwork that Jeff Byerman gets involved with. He's been certified as a floodplain administrator. There's documentation that has to be done there and submitted to FEMA. We've always just historically done that at no charge to our residents. There'd be a $75 fee here for easements and use of the city right-of-way. There are certain areas of town, primarily those that may have a larger right-of-way, where the property owner wants to put a fence up sometimes, and it ends up being a fence that would be technically in the city's right-of-way. They end up having to get an easement from the city, so again, it takes our staff time to prepare those documents. Ultimately, those documents have to be filed down at the Register of Deeds office. This would be a way to get some revenue for just, again, the time and expense our staff is putting into helping put those documents together for that property owner. For planned unit developments, which is kind of a kind of rezoning that takes place. The base zoning doesn't change, but it does allow them to recommend tweaks to the zoning regulations. We've historically not had a fee listed. We just always kind of called it a replat. Now we do have a specific fee that's listed there. And there's two different styles of PUDs that you can do. The PUD 1 is kind of the overarching large one. Especially if it's a larger development, you might see one general PUD and then multiple PUD 2s that are all a different part of that little mixed-use layout. So in this suggestion, you'd have $600 for the PUD 1 and then $400 a piece for all of the individual PUD 2s. Every once in a while, we get a request for a zoning verification letter. A company calls up and says, basically, I'm going to be renting this property. I just want to get a letter from you stating that this is the zoning and this use that we want to do is permitted. Again, we've always just done that as courtesy. Here, we'd start charging $75 for that use. And then you can see the last few that are on the page here. The developers and developer agreement, when we do subdivisions, as an example, when we did the Blair Crossing apartment complex, there was a developer's agreement. Takes months sometimes to help put those together, to review those documents, to work with them on that. We've historically never charged anything separate for those. Here it would be $600 for those developers agreements. Occasionally we have somebody who requests to vacate a plat. And basically that just kind of wipes it all out. But there's a lot of research that has to go into what's been done. Are there any utilities that are there? How's that going to impact? Are any easements required? So therefore there would be a fee tied with that plat vacation. And then also the right-of-way vacation would have a fee. Then you see on the very last page, just some tweaks to our plating fees, both for preliminary plats, final plats, and replats. And again, this brings them a little bit more in line with the costs that we see from some of our other communities. So any questions that you have for me on any of those issues?
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Any comments from the public? Judiciary Committee.
We met on this, and we were pretty good in alignment, really, with, what the other cities and towns around us are doing. It was just some of them that we didn't have any fees, and some of them we need to tweak up just a little bit. So, yeah, we're in agreement with this. If not any questions, I'll introduce resolution number 2025-136.
Resolution number 2025-136 was introduced by Councilmember Highfield, amending the Blair Municipal Code appendix permit license and application fees to include updated building and zoning permit fees.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-136 as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2025-136. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Before we move on to item 13, sorry, Mr. Green, I noticed that it's on our agenda in Spark, but it is not in the posted agenda here. I just want to make sure that it's in the agenda it's the one with the airport. It's not in this one.
It's not in the one that was printed here before.
No.
No.
No, it's in Spark.
It's in our Spark. I know we can only
It's
act on
not
items that are on the attached agenda, so I don't know if it has to be on this one. Was it in the paper? Was it on the one on our website?
We don't normally list the individual items in the paper,
Okay.
so we just simply say, so it's been in
It's on the
Spark, which is,
website? Okay, very good. I just wanted to double check, because I didn't
Okay.
know. Can we proceed, council? If it's in Spark? Okay. I
okay,
wasn't trying to.
thank you. No, I appreciate that.
I just want to
did
make
not
sure
know,
everything's
'cause-
above bar.
Yes,
Perfect. Nope.
nope, I appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
And this was kind of added at the last minute. I'm planning probably in January, maybe in February though, to come to a council meeting with Dr. Johnson, Dave Johnson, who's the chairman of the Airport Authority Board, just to kind of give you an update on all the exciting things that are going on at the airport and kind of let you know what the next literally 24 months is going to look like out there with all the different activities that are going on. We are about ready to close on a land purchase that's been in the negotiation stage, in the planning stage for several years. That is all part of the runway expansion project. As we were moving forward, we're trying to lay out the finances for that. We investigated several different things. Usually we've gone to one of the local banks and just borrowed some short-term funds from them. Oftentimes, though, we've been able to do short-term financing because we're going to roll forward with a bond eventually someday, and so we've done bond anticipation notes and then eventually bonded all that. We could have gone that route. I got kind of busy and delayed a little bit as we started talking about this and looking for, well, what could we do fairly simply? We came up with the idea, well, the city's actually got some cash on hand that we don't have invested right now, which a little bit shame on us for not being able to do that. But again, with all the activities, with all the change in BSNA and all the extra work that poor Sarah has been having to go through, we just really haven't had time to manage that cash on hand that we would like to. And this kind of created a unique opportunity for us, both from the municipal standpoint, to invest our money a little bit short-term, some of it, you'll learn here in just a second, not a lot of it, but some of it, but also help the airport, because we're about ready to close on this property. We already have a grant from the FAA for it. They've already guaranteed that. In fact, their money is sitting there in their account, just waiting for us to tap into it. But as with all of these federal grants for the FAA, we have to expend the money first, then we submit the proof that we've done the payment, and then they submit the reimbursement to us. And all of these FAA reimbursements are 90%, or some are even 95% that we get back, depending upon exactly when that that grant was given to us. So we needed some short-term funds. We're going to be closing, like I said, on this property. It's almost $800,000 for that closing. We have to come up with those funds right up front, and then again, we'll get reimbursed for the vast majority of those. So this is a $1 million line of credit. I did $1 million just because it's a simple number. Plus, we do have a couple other construction projects going on right now, so I didn't want to get stuck with having that $800,000 out and then needing perhaps another $150,000, $200,000 temporarily before we get reimbursed again from the feds for that the other construction grant or the state grant that we're doing right now for some of the executive hangars. So anyway, it's $1 million. We don't plan to have $1 million out at hardly any time. In fact, we'll close on this property hopefully Monday. Within a month, we should get those federal funds back, so we'll reimburse the city for the vast majority of those. My guess is throughout this next fiscal year, there may be times where we've got between $50,000 and $100,000 that are out, depending on just what cash flow is like at that particular time. We will not be extending this beyond this current fiscal year. Number one, that creates a little headache for the auditors and trying to show that you've got these outstanding loans between different divisions of the municipality. So we'll work this coming summer on putting those bond anticipation notes in place so that we'll get completely reimbursed, and then the airport authority will move forward with its own financing. But all of this is tied into the really good work that's being done down there for both the runway extension project. Just recently, and again, this is part of the update that we'll do next month for you, the airport authority had received from the Nebraska Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division almost $800,000 grant to help with 2 sections of taxiway that will allow us to move forward relatively quickly with 6 or 7 more executive hangars that are located down there, which literally will double the big hangars, the number of hangars that we have down there on site right now. So when you drive by now and notice all of those that are from basically the fuel area and Skyworks south of there towards the grading is, imagine that being doubled in the next 2 years as the runway project is going forward at the same time. So lots of good activities going on. We just need a little bit of cash to help us with cash flow until we get everything settled down with those future bonds. So, any questions?
So basically, this is a $1 million revolving credit, it sounds like.
Yes.
So who approves, like, if you need 50 grand, who's going to approve that?
And there's a form that's in the back of this. Basically, I fill out a form, give it to Sarah. She'll sign off on it. I'll keep you aware of what we're in the process of borrowing each month. Obviously, the Airport Authority Board is going to be aware of what we're doing each month. But again,
Should specifically the finance committee be involved
and,
and know what's going on with it?
and I can do that,
I would think. I mean, I'm not on the committee. I don't want to speak for you guys.
We did discuss it shortly this evening. We did have some questions. I did think of something else since then that I'd like to ask, just to be sure about. Are these grants guaranteed in any way? And the reason I'm asking is because in recent time, it seems that the federal government has changed its mind on following through with grants that it's made. So I'd hate for us to be holding the bag on a
great
large
question.
number.
Again, the land purchase where we'll be getting this upcoming $800,000, again, has already been allocated. The funds are sitting there in that account waiting for us. Right now, the project that's probably keeping us most cash crunched, other than that land purchase, is again the grading project that we're doing on the south side. Again, that's a state project. All those funds are already there by the state, simply waiting for us to get that project done. And those are really the 2 big projects that I'm trying to balance now until next summer, when we get ready for moving forward with the road relocation and then the major grading for the runway extension. And what I can do, because right now, I'll fill out, whenever I need to draw down, I'll fill out a form, give that to Sarah, but I can easily, email that out to the finance committee just to let them know that, here's another draw and kind of what the current balance is.
I had earlier
Council
questions.
needs to be involved somehow.
Right, I had questions earlier too about this being some sort of open-ended, and then that's when Phil assured it's just for this fiscal year, or the upcoming fiscal year. It's not going to be an ongoing long-term credit card, basically, so I had some concerns regarding that as well.
But don't you think you should know anytime to tap in the funds?
That's probably something that I hadn't thought about, that, I think there should be some sort of, whether it's a
easy.
prior approval from the finance committee or just an update of where the funds are being dispersed as that occurs.
I think that's critical.
No problem.
Any other questions for Mr. Green? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from the public? Having none, would someone like to introduce?
I'd like to introduce resolution number 2025-137.
Resolution number 2025-137 was introduced by Councilmember Banner, approving a loan agreement between the City of Blair and the Blair Airport Authority.
I'd like to propose we adopt resolution 2025-137 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2025-137. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
Motion passes. Now we are going to go into executive session for the protection of the public interest and to receive legal advice regarding negotiations to protect attorney-client privilege.
Madam Mayor, before we do that, can we maybe pause and allow the...
Well, and,
Well,
Oh, I see.
after we
have-
vote, we
right,
will
right,
have to
right.
pause, but yes.
and then Mayor, I didn't know if you wanted me to just do my report real quick, while the public is still
Sure,
here.
if you want to do your administrator report.
Yes, just very, very, very briefly. Number one, happy Thanksgiving, and hope you have a good break coming up. Just a reminder to you and those who may be listening that city offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday this week, and the library will be closed also as well on Saturday. That is an opportunity for them, so it's not a holiday per se. They've joined together to decide to use their personal time, but it gives them a nice little extra break. Again, the accounting and utilities transition continues to go forward with our BSNA product. This is the second of 3 go-live weeks for us, and so I think things are going fairly well. I know there have been some frustrations from residents over the utility billing. Many had not noticed the light-colored watermark that was on there, stating that it was just a sample or an example that was included in their bill, so we apologize for not making that more clear. The December bills are going to be generated tomorrow. The system is actually easier to be able to sign up for when you actually have an outstanding balance than it is when there's zero balance. So we're hoping after tomorrow that it'll be a little easier for all of our residents. We're trying to find out from BSNA, once you sign up for paperless and we're able to email out to people's accounts, whether we can attach attachments to that email as well. If we can, then we're not going to plan to print bills for everybody. People who have already signed up and have already indicated that they're going paperless, we'll email them as long as we can email attachments and give them a little bit more additional instructions on other parts of the system. If we can't do that, though, we'll stick with our original plan that 100% of the bills might be printed next month. And again, there's not going to be any additional fees, late penalty charges, no paper processing fees or anything like that for December and January coming up. One more week, as I said, of on-site training. And then as we go into the executive session, just a reminder to everybody else who's here, there will be no other actions afterwards. And so after the executive session, we'll come back together, have to officially open it in the public, but then you'll move right to adjourn. Any items that are discussed tonight and that will have follow-up items, we'll take care of in the meetings to come. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session at 8:03 PM to discuss possible negotiations involving the City of Blair and to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
A motion has been made, oops, someone needs a second.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to go into executive session to discuss possible negotiations involving the City of Blair and to preserve attorney-client privilege. Please register your vote.
All council members present voting aye.
A motion has been carried to go into executive session for the limited purpose of discussing